Okay, now let's go over practice exam number 2. In cell C12 on the visitor attendance, cell C12, use structured reference to elements of the table to calculate the total average attendance at all the national parks. Structured reference just refer to the formula, so we just need equals average, open parentheses, open parentheses, highlight all the cells, click OK, and here we go, average attendance, complete. Task 2. Using the fill series option in Excel, extend the attendance table to include the remaining months for the year of July through December. Because we know it's a table, it's very easy to fill it out. We're just going to drag it till December, and here we go, it's done. Task 3. In cell F4 on the ranger-led activities, cell F4, add a formula that displays yes if the national park offers both youth programs and astronomy programs. Otherwise, display no. Populate the remaining cells in the column with the same formula. So we know that it's an if formula because it's asked if it's this, then display yes. If it's that, then display no. But first we need to design a logic test. So they want both astronomy and youth programs. So we know it's going to be an AND formula. But how do we design an AND formula to list all the youth programs? Because as you can see, they're not consistent. They have summer, spring, summer, and fall. Another formula can come in handy. It's called NOT formula. So we're going to do equals NOT tab. And what's the logic behind the NOT formula? So basically, NOT formula displays everything that you don't want it to show. So we're going to say that we don't want this cell to show none. So everything else other than none will be accepted by us. I'm going to click OK. We're going to cut this formula. And now we can design our end formula. So end tab, let's open our little window. So logic test number 1. So they need an astronomy program. So this equals yes. Logic number 2, we're going to just paste our second formula, our NOT formula. So right now, what we're saying, we want the astronomy row, the astronomy column to say yes, and we want youth program to say anything but none. And we're going to click OK, and here's our logical test. Now we can insert this formula into our if formula. So we're going to click if tab. Let's open our little window. Logic test. Right click on the mouse. Let's delete equals because we don't need that. And value if true, we have to say yes. Value if false is no. Click OK, and we're done. I enable the arrow checking rule that flags numbers formatted as text or preceded with an apostrophe. Again, it doesn't refer to any specific tab or cells. That means it's a generic rule. And we're going to go to File, More Options. We're going to go to Formulas, and it says numbers formatted. So let's scroll all the cancel. We're going to minimize this window, and here's this option that we need to click and just OK, and we're done. Task number 5. On the attendance trends, add a trend line to the chart that shows the moving average for Xeon. So let's click on the chart. Let's click on the chart design, add chart element, trend line, moving average, specifically for Xeon. Click OK, and we're done. Task 6. On the programs by park pivot table, so let's click on the pivot table, display the data in outline form. So display the data. So sounds like a design. Report layout, show in outline form. And we're done. Save project. Modify the workbook options so only the Blue Jay Chipmunk class sizes can be edited when opening the workbook in a browser. Again, very generic, doesn't specify any tabs. That means we have to go to File. Here it says that it can be edited. That means we have to go to Info because that's where all the protection is. We have to scroll all the way down, browser view options, and under parameters, it actually says add parameters to specify which cells will be editable when the workbook is viewed in the browser. So we have to add, and they're specifically referred to Blue Jay and Chipmunk. Let's click OK, OK, and we're done. On the SKI School Enrollment Worksheet, add data validation to cell range C13 to C15, C13 to C15 that displays the input message, enter a value between 3 and 10, title the input message class size, display a step error alert with the title and valid class size, and text must be minimum of 3 and maximum of 10 students when the user enters a value of less than 3 or greater than 10 or a number that includes a fraction. So this is like very common. It says data validation, so we know right away to go to data, and then we just have to read through data validation. Let's click on this. Let's go to settings. It says allow any value. No, we only can allow whole numbers between 3 and maximum of 10. Input message right here, it says class size. It says input message has to be enter a value between 3 and 10. Control copy, control V, error alert. It specifically asks us to have stop, which is with the title of invalid class size, and arrow message. Let's go down, highlighted with our mouse, control C, control V. Let's click OK, and we're done. Task number 3. In cell L6 on the UDIS key prices, so UDIS key prices, cell L6, calculate the average price of an adult annual pass. So this one, adult annual pass, for ski resorts operating more than 15 lifts and over 2,000 acres. So we need an average formula, but it has two conditions attached to it. So we need average ifs. Average ifs, click tab, oops, control, average ifs, tab, our little window. What are we averaging? So we're averaging adult annual pass. So it's going to be E6 to what is it? To E19. E6 to E19. What is our criteria? So the first criteria has to be the ski area needs to have more than 15 lifts. So number of lifts. So it's I6 to I19. And our criteria is more than 15 lifts. Criteria range 2, it has to be more than 2,000 acres, skillable acres, so it's H6 to H19, and our criteria more than 2,000 acres, and we're going to click OK. That's it, we're done. On the UDIS key prices worksheet, name cell range G6, this is G6, Control Shift down, ski run. So all the name rangers are located within formula. There's a name manager. We're going to create a new one, and we're going to name it ski run. Oops, ski runs, and it's J6 to J19. Let's click OK, close, and we're done. Task 5. Using the data on the UDIS key prices, add a chart that shows the price at each resort for an adult annual pass as an area chart and the price for a child annual pass as a secondary axis line chart. As soon as you hear the word as a secondary access line chart, there's only one chart that has this. So let's do this. So we need ski resort, we need adult annual and child annual pass columns. So let's highlight all three. Let's highlight this, control, and we need adult, child, and we're gonna insert, and we need a specific because it asks for a secondary access line. It's going to be this combo, and we need to create a custom combo chart. As you can see here on the bottom, it says adult annual pass has to be an area chart. This is the area chart. And child annual pass has to be aligned on the secondary axis. So we have to click this box. And we're going to hit OK. And it says position the chart below the table with the upper left corner of the chart in cell A2. So let's do that. Let's minimize this window. Let's maximize this window. And let's drag it below 822. Let's see, we'll do the one 822. In cell 822. Perfect. Completed. Great project. On the top sponsor worksheet, create a password protected range from A3 to B13. Name the range sponsors. Use 1235 as the password. As we can see here, it refers to specific tab, to specific cells. That means it has to be within this ribbon. So let's highlight A3 to B13. So it's this table like right here. And if we go to review, allow edit ranges because they're talking about ranges, and we're going to click new. We know we're at the correct place because there is a password. We're going to name this range sponsors, and range password is 12345, and we're going to click OK and re-enter. OK, and then apply. OK, and then it asks us to protect a sheet. So protect a sheet with the same password. OK, and task 1 is completed. On the dive show exhibitors, add a conditional formatting rule to the exhibitor name column that applies a yellow fill with a 6.25% gray pattern if the industry is clothing and the post size is more than 1,000. So by this little word and, we know that we need to use a formula, and formula. Let's write it out. So and tab, let's go to our little window. What do they want? So logic number 1, they want industry, which is B3, to equal to clothing. Let's do that. And it says false, which is true because the first B3 says education. And then logic 2, they want booth size, which is D3, to be more than 1,000, which also displays false because this is not more than 1,000. It's exactly 1,000. Then we're just going to cut it and highlight the cells that we need. So we're going to conditional format all the cells. So new rule, we're going to use a formula. Right click, paste, format. It says fill, yellow fill. So we're going to go to fill. This is yellow. And pattern style is 6.2% 5 gray. I'm going to click OK. And we're going to click OK. And here we go. It's completed. On the session schedule, use a function to add the current date and time to cell G1. So current date and time is equals now. If you just want a date, it's going to be equals today. So read it. In cell E3 on the daily schedule, E3, Insert the get pivot data function to calculate the number of marketing sessions offered on Thursday. So this is already, as you can see, this is already a pivot table, so we don't really need to do anything here except for click equals through the pivot table, Thursday marketing, click on the cell, 5. We are done. On the daily schedule worksheet, so we're still here, create a pivot chart that shows only the sales and marketing session for Thursday. Position the pivot chart. So the upper left corner of the chart is in cell E5. So this is a pivot table, and we need to create a pivot chart out of this. So we're going to click on the pivot table, analyze, and we are going to insert a pivot chart. So here's the pivot chart. It doesn't specify what kind, so columns are fine. We need to position it in cell C5. It also asking us, let's enlarge this. Okay, so it's also asking us for Thursday and sales and marketing specific criteria. So the day, click on it, has to be only Thursday. And the track has to be only marketing and sales. Let's click OK, and we're done. Great project. Modify task 1. Modify Excel options so function results are not automatically calculated until a workbook is saved. Again, doesn't refer to a specific tab since it has to be under general options. So calculated, that means it's going to be formulas, manual, until a workbook is saved. So we need to unclick this one because otherwise it will save before saving, which is not what we want. And we just have to click OK, and we are done. Task 2. Change the code style by adding a single white underline. So this refers to specific cell style. Those styles are located right here. So here's the code, right click, and we're gonna say modify. We're gonna click on the format, and they're asking us for an underline. So underline single, color is white. Okay, okay, we're done. On the exporting countries, use a query. So as soon as you hear the word query, that means we have to go to the data tab. Use a query beginning at cell A1, so the query has to be here, to import the country code and country columns from the codes worksheet in the code list workbook located in the Geometrics templates folder. So we know that we need to get a data from this from a specific worksheet. So from file, from Excel workbook, now it's asking us code list. Yeah, that's the file we want. Okay, it also says that it has to be from a specific tab called codes. So let's double click on the codes. Okay, as we can see, there's like multiple columns and they're only asking us to import country code and country. So we're gonna say choose columns. And deselect all except for country code and country. Let's click OK. Perfect. So this is like what we wanna extract, close, and load to. Where do we want to load this? We want to load it onto this. So where do you want to put this data? Into existing worksheet A1. Yes, we agree with this statement. There we go. We just exported the data using a query. On the grain exports worksheet, so name the cell range A2, to A85. As I said, name manager located is in formulas. We're going to click new. And they want a country code, so we just need to delete this and click OK and close. We're done. Task number 5. Create a pivot table on a new worksheet named pivot table that shows the amount of grain exported by each country. Use the data on the grain exports worksheet. Position the new worksheet at the rightmost depth. So we need to select this whole table, which is Shift Control, arrow right, arrow down, and let's insert the pivot table into a new worksheet. Yes. And we need to position this worksheet to the right, and we need to name it pivot table. So they want grain by each country. So let's minimize this window, maximize this, so we can actually see what we're doing. And we need country, we need metric tons, and we need product. There we go. We are all set. There's nothing else we need to do here. Completed. Great project. Last project, number 5. Change the theme fonts to Arial and save the theme as Farmers Market into the G-Metrics templates folder. So for this, we need to go to page layout. We need to pick a font, which is Arial, and we need to save it. Save current theme. They want to save it as Farmers Market. Let's locate our name. This is my name. Let's go to Documents. Use the G-Metrics, double click, and save. We are done. Task number 2. On the Farmers Market worksheet, change the format in cell E1 to English Canada. Date format DD YY. So for this, we're going to go to Home. We're going to click this little arrow. We're going to go to Date. Right now it says English United States. We need English Canada. Here it is. And the format, it says two characters for DD, 3 characters for MM, and 2 characters for YY. This is like what it matches. Let's click OK. And we're done. Mark is completed. Task number 3. On the rental revenue worksheet, use an Excel forecasting feature to calculate a new rental fee that will result in a total projected revenue of $160,000. So as you can see, current revenue is $139,200. Number of spaces available is 290. Number of market Saturdays is 24. They need to figure out a rental fee that will result in $160,000. For this, we need a data tab, what if analysis, and a goal set. So set cell is H7, and we want to receive $160,000 in revenue. We don't know how much we need to charge in order to achieve this. So we're going to click OK, and it will calculate automatically for us. Click OK. And it says that we need to charge $23 in order to achieve $160,000 in revenue. Completed. In cell E2 on the sales summary, E2, add a formula using cube functions and the data model to retrieve the top selling product for all 3 seasons. This is actually a complicated formula to use. So for purposes of this presentation, I'll be skipping over this task. Moving on, task number 5. On the projected sales next year worksheet, add a new column named 3% increase that projects sales if increased by 3%. So on the projected sales next year, let's click on this pivot table. We need to add a new column. So let's go to pivot table, analyze. Let's go to filled items and sets. Let's click on the calculated field, and we know that the name of this column should be 3% increase. And the formula to do this is sales plus, open parentheses, sales times 3%. I'm going to click add, and we're going to click OK, and there we go. We added that column. Task number 5 is completed. Great project. Finish test. Yes. And as you can see, we passed. Amazing. As we know, we didn't complete one task. One task, it will be on the exam, but it just may be one out of many. So if you can't understand the Q functions and the data model, you will need a more in-depth knowledge to use those formulas. So you can just like skip over it. It won't hurt you.